Hey guys, and welcome back to Here's a Boredom. Today we are going to be building a cosplay prop. So stay tuned. We'll show you what we're doing. Alright, so the other day my lovely fiance comes up to me about a couple weeks up to our annual convention, Anime Central here in Chicago. And she says, hey, I want to cosplay as Ren from World of Final Fantasy. I think it'll be easy. So, needless to say, we're already pretty late in the game for this kind of thing. It's really something that you should have been working on a little bit more. But I was like, hey, what the hell? I'll help you with your props. So, I started working right away on Ren's Dagger from World of Final Fantasy. And here is what I have done so far. And I kept on telling myself, like, I'm going to record this. But I kept working on it. And so I finally got to the point where I was like, hey, if I don't record this, I'm not going to record this. So I decided to show you guys here what I'm working at. So let's take a look at the parts. Alright, so here we have everything pretty much built already. We're pretty much already printed, and now I'm going to put it together. So here we have the main dagger piece, which I printed out of kind of like a transparent blue filament. And that's because the base of the dagger is supposed to be kind of like a crystal. So I use this to kind of best get that effect. Then we have three pieces here, really, because I split the dagger between the tip, the base of the dagger, and a bit for the handle, and then the handle itself. So there's actually a piece of this blue that runs all the way into this handle piece, and I actually had to tap that in with a hammer, and it's not coming out. Like it's pretty much in there permanently. I wanted to glue it, but it really probably wasn't necessary. So I fixed the midsection of the crystal dagger together using 3 dowels, which you can kind of see because they're translucent. So there's 3 dowels in there connecting each one together. Each part has holes, so I put glue in the holes, put the dowels in the holes, and then dabbed some glue on this surface in between, and just kind of push it all together until the glue's set. So that's this piece, and then we have these other trim pieces, which are going to be overlaid on the dagger. So we have this piece right here, which is kind of an ornament that's going to set in there. I made a little indent for it. We have the tip that's going to go right on over, and then we have this piece right here, which this middle piece is actually separate, but it'll all be glued down right on top of the dagger. So I need to do a bit of sanding. Everything doesn't go together as nicely as I'd like it to, but I'm going to sand up the edges of the dagger here, and hopefully things will pop back into place a little bit easier. But that's pretty much the project. What I got to do now is I got to sand. I'm going to glue them down using some super glue, and I'm thinking that the gray the silver I used to print these pieces isn't quite matching the color I want it to, which was the same gig with these ornament pieces. These ornament pieces weren't quite the color I wanted them to be, so I actually airbrushed them. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sanding them up, cleaning them, and then I'm going to airbrush the rest of the pieces so that they have the colors that I'm going for here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm rambling now, so I'm going to get to sanding, and you guys can watch a little bit of a montage of that, I guess. All right, so it's the next day. I was literally up until about 5 a.m. working on everything, and I got a lot done. I have pretty much painted all my pieces. I need to do a little bit of touch up. It's kind of blown out because of the window. So I need to do a little bit of touch up on this piece because I accidentally tapped right there before it was cured last night. So I kind of sanded it down to get my fingerprint out of there. And the next step is pretty much to clear coat everything. Hope everything cures in time. And get this thing assembled. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to clear coat everything off camera. Because, let's face it, nobody wants to watch paint dry. And I will get back to you guys when it's time to assemble. Alright, so here we are. I got everything painted, clear coated, and now it's time to just kind of assemble everything. So what I'm going to be doing is I got some super glue here, and we are going to be using the super glue to fix everything to the Dagger, hopefully without any issues. So pretty much the goal here is to get everything on the Dagger and mount it up flush. So when we have these multiple pieces like this, I seem to have misplaced my other part, but pretty much the goal is when we have the pieces on each side like this, we want to have them meet up kind of flush with minimal amount of gap is what we're going for. So hopefully I seem to have lost a piece. 1 second. Okay, so here we are. Everything has been painted. Everything has a nice good layer of clear coat. I've sanded it down. Nothing is really perfect, and that's partially because it's being rushed. So let me see if I can get a focus here. So you kind of see there's a little bit of gouging and stuff like that. And that's because with these particular pieces, because they have these walls on them, I printed them this way. So they are printed with this part on the bottom. Okay, and so as a result, with the painter's tape and things, you know, wanting to pull off of the bed, because I don't have a heated bed, you know, it kind of leaves these gouges. So it's not the end of the world. Usually I probably would have spent some more time sanding and maybe even filling, but this whole piece has been extremely rushed. So the goal here was to get it done, to get it ready for the convention as quick as possible. You know, as long as it's good in photos, I'm happy. That's the goal here, is just help my fiance look good in her cosplay photos. And I think that this will achieve that. And I think that it's a nice touch. And I'm not sure if we're going to see any other Ren cosplayers there, but I doubt that they will have a Dagger this decent. So now we're going to glue everything together as the next step. And the goal is to kind of try to get everything nice and neatly put together with as little gap as possible, and try to have everything lined up nice. So I might take a second here and kind of see which side works best together, because they weirdly seem to be a little off for some reason. And I was very anal when I printed everything, that I printed every piece exactly for the side it was supposed to be. So one side might work better than the other, but we'll see. See, this side, it's like one side seems to still be off. So I might actually have to kind of grip those into place, or I might just have to put up with it. But ultimately, as long as everything lines up nicely, see, like this one has a big gap right there. And again, if I had more time, I'd probably just fill it somehow. But I don't. So this one
has some sizable gaps too. I might just have to live with it though. I mean, I think it'll still look good from far away. It's just an up close kind of thing. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by gluing the tips, and then I'm going to work my way down. So that'll be that one, and we'll do these two on this side. So hopefully I have another thing of glue. Hopefully this all makes it, because as of the moment it is pretty late. It is 10:01, the day before the convention, and so we are really running out of time to get everything done. So we're just going to kind of hope we can get it the way we want it to, and everything is going to be cool. So here we go. So one of the things that you don't want to do when working with super glue is you don't want to over apply, because it actually kind of hurts your adhesion. So I'm just kind of putting a drop every inch in these corners, and once force is applied to it, it's going to spread out anyways. And that's the other thing is we don't want to have too much spread out in a way that we don't want it to. So we want it to be there good enough to get the adhesion, but not so much that it's going to goop out. And so since this is super glue, this particularly is a gel super glue, so you want to give it a little bit more time to set up. So I'm just going to kind of hold this in place for a good second before we move on to the next part. And that's just the way gel super glues specifically are. I find that they take a minute longer. Now, if you work with super glue a lot, there is actually accelerants that you can get. I have never used them. I've heard good things about them, but I've never really found them completely necessary. So there we go. Okay, so that part I think is good to go. So here we're going to do same thing again. And sorry if I'm getting in the way of the camera. I'm trying to kind of do this stuff quick without being clumsy. I'm really worried about these crossbars too, and if I'm going to see some leaking with the glue on these slim pieces in the middle. I have to say I really like this can't think of words right now. I've literally not had much sleep. But I like the nozzle for applying this one, and the little wings you get on the side that you can grip it with. I find that it's really nice. You get a good feel of control. Oh, I probably shouldn't have put those dabs there just yet, but it's too late now. I guess I'll have to start bottom up for the next one. Okay, so get that. I think as long as I have one side that's really good for photos, I think I'll be happy. So I'm just going to switch, flip, and get this other side going. Hopefully that glue takes a minute. I think that one's just about dead. So fun thing about these is they have this little clicky mechanism that you have to clumsy that you have to kind of click to get the glue flowing. So you have to like give it a good twist, and it punctures and frees up your glue so it can get going. So that's what that clicking was. See, this is the bad thing is when you make mistakes like that and You put those dabs of glue like I just did, all silly, you feel rushed, because essentially you're working against a clock. So I feel like I might have made some mistakes and put some glue where I didn't necessarily want it to. Put a little dabs here for fun. Make sure everything's set. So since this is, we're going to be dealing with the edges here, I'll put some just on these little pieces so I could try to get a good adhesion for the seam. Sorry again if my camera angles aren't great. Like I said, I'm feeling a little rushed now. But we are going to get those down. And so trying to line these up and kind of get them flush so that they kind of just hold. So I'm going to grab a clamp real quick. Alright, so my camera cut in the middle of filming that. I'm not sure exactly where, but it's not that big of a deal. But we pretty much have everything glued down as far as the trim pieces and all that stuff. The two parts of the dagger are glued together. Those have been glued together for a while now. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue the rest of these off camera. And we're going to come back and take a look at the finished project and get some close-ups and talk about maybe where I could improve and change things in the future. So yeah, we'll be right back with that. Alright, so we are back in the house now. I have finished gluing everything together. So everything is exactly how it's supposed to be. And we are pretty much done with this for now and ready to we are done with this for now and ready to go to the convention. So it's almost midnight here right now. It's 11:07, the day before the convention. So we still have to pack and get everything done for that. So I think that's going to be just about it for this video. You kind of get a good idea. Everything came out pretty much good for this side. Not so much for this side with these gaps, but otherwise I think it was a pretty successful build. If I was to do it again, I'd probably spend way more time with the sanding and finishing. Not so much for the blue part of the dagger, because we're trying to emulate that crystal look and feel, and the texture for that is a-okay. I actually think that it looks really good. And kind of pulls off that crystal effect rather well. It's translucent, so light shines through it. And that's perfectly fine. But as far as like the trim and the ornaments and stuff right here, I feel like there's a lot more I could have done better. As far as modeling and the sanding and the finishing goes. But again, time was a big part of this project. Like, this was crunch. This was from start to completion. This was done in about a week. With me dealing with other things in life. Probably a total of 24 hours or so, a day total working on this, spread out over a week is what this was. So all in all, I would say not bad, really not perfect, but not bad at all. So with that being said, I am going to go to sleep. Well, actually, I'm probably going to pack first and then go to sleep. I really want to sleep though. But yeah, that'll be it for this one. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.